We are joined by the great Cathy Burns, CEO of IFPA. I mean, come on. We're at the show, and we got the head honcho here with us. Yeah. Cathy, welcome in. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, always great to be with the two of you. It seems like we were just together at the Washington conference.
Well, we were.
I appreciate the interest in the coverage of the industry, certainly IFPA, but the industry more broadly. And you guys have been so generous with your time, and I wouldn't miss an opportunity to sit down with you at any point in time.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah. Very kind words.
Yeah, very kind words. And as we say each time, I mean, we're very appreciative for you guys giving us this opportunity. Absolutely. And allowing us to have the space and be part of this. Throughout my long career, I've interacted with what was PMA, which has grown to be IFPA, and it's always been an organization that's, it's meant a lot to me. It's meant a lot to the industry. It's a change maker and continues to try and be a change maker. So certainly can't say enough about thanks to what you guys are doing, for us as well as the industry.
Yes, and right back at you, actually. I mean, as I look behind you and see your banner with the sponsors, I mean, you guys are growing up, and it's been cool to watch that happen. And for you to be able to tell the IFPA story and the industry stories to all your fresh creds. What are creds?
Cred heads. Remember, we coined that the last show.
Right.
Cred heads.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's only showing the importance of storytelling and talking about what's happening in the industry. So thanks to you and to the sponsors. The wind behind your wings is pretty important.
Yeah, certainly appreciate that. But we want to talk a little bit about what the show, and I've actually had this conversation a couple times today. Great. So I was coming to this show very early in my career, back when it was downstairs. There was none of this up here. In fact, the Portola didn't even look like this. It was a completely different place. But the show has changed so much over those years, and what you guys are doing now from an education standpoint, just a presence standpoint, the attendee piece of it. A couple of high points from the last day or two, that you would say, like to speak out about or talk about what's going on?
Yeah, it's so hard to boil it down to a couple of high points because, you start last night with the opening reception, which we've outgrown. We used to have it at the Barns. We outgrew that, so now we need to have it outside right here, the Portola, actually, which is a great way to start. The weather was beautiful. The community, it was just a buzz. So that was pretty exciting.
It was a little on the warmer side for Monterey.
I know, and we're in Monterey, and people are saying it's warm.
I'm used to
that's
the
like
heat,
an oxymoron, right, for Monterey. But prior to that, we had an education session where we shared some research that we had funded as it relates to what's happening in the food service sector. So always great takeaways from any type of research you can do. We had chefs on a panel talking about how they think about incorporating produce, which I know you've talked to a couple chefs. How do they incorporate produce into what they're doing? And then we had someone speak from the K-12 side. And if you think about trying to get foods into the mouths of babes, and then as they grow through their educational journey, the opportunity for us is huge and immense. And we have over 100 school directors here that will obviously set the tone and set the menu for those schools. And it's been great for them to be on the floor and be part of the education and really brainstorm together. How can we infuse our menus with fresh produce? Obviously, another highlight. This morning we had our Women's Fresh Perspective breakfast. It used to be a reception, quite frankly, every year before the welcoming reception. Because of its success and because of the interest of both men and women, we moved it to the general session. It was standing room only.
Oh, wow.
We had a panel of women talking about their experience in this industry. The glass ceilings they had to bust through, the men that lifted them up, the other women that lifted them up. And although we're not all the way to bright on any of that, you can really see the change. You talk about change year over year. That you definitely can see based on the confidence of the women that come to this event, their voices at the table. I used to say, if you're not at the table, bringing up a folding chair and sit at the table. And now they don't have to bring the folding chair as much anymore. They actually have a real seat that they can sit at. And then lastly, the expo floor. My gosh, it's. I know you guys have been tied up, but it's been a buzz down there. We have almost close to 1,000 buyers.
Oh my gosh!
Here we have record-breaking attendance this year, so we'll be north of 2,200 people just focused on food service.
Yeah.
So if you think about food service broadly, it's schools, education, it's obviously quick serve, it's sit down, it's all hospitality. And so you think about the resilience of this community from COVID going forward. It's been great to have the community come together, and there's a lot of new items on the floor as well that hopefully you'll start to see on menus or in schools or in your travels as it relates to hospitality.
Well, I know when I talk to people, this show, right, and it's been to me, this is the what would say the OG of the small format, right? I mean, it was really long before any of the other small regional stuff. But still, so many people, because it's food, I don't go to that show. Da, da, da. I'm like, well, you're missing
out.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, there's so many people here, from farmers to retailers to restaurants, and I mean,
Allied industry,
yeah. It's a good group of folks to come and be part of, and so literally people are missing out. You said something. I'm curious. You mentioned the growth in buyers and certainly the growth in attendance, and that's a testament to what you're doing, right? So if you're not putting out a good product last year before, you're not going to get more. So that's right. A testament to what you guys are doing. But I'm curious on the K-12, right? So I think, would you say 100?
Yeah, over 100 school food service directors are here.
When did you guys start bringing the school directors in? How long ago was that?
Part of it is a little bit of Legacy United prior to the merger. Okay. United did a really nice job with school food service directors at their show, and they tried to carve it out as a niche. Another benefit of the two organizations coming together, we now have school food service at the proper show, which is the Food Service Conference, focused on produce. I mean, I can't think of another show. There is no other show where the ratio is 1-to-1, buyer to supplier.
Wow!
So we're almost 1-to-1.
That is
I told
impressive.
you almost 1,000 buyers here. So
impressive.
it's really exciting that you have the intimacy of the show.
Yep.
I'll say it here on the fresh cred first. I have one sacred cow. As I think about IFPA and certainly my leadership time here, is that I will never move this conference out of Monterey. I just won't do it. There's too much happening around this event, and we're sold out with a wait list on the expo side. So
you ever get any pressure for the time of year? Not that it's not great, because I love it, but summertime produce business, pretty busy time of the year.
No, just the opposite, quite frankly, because the people. Well, for the people who are based here, they love it because, I mean, I talked to one pretty significant grower here that's based out of here, and they had 2,000 people go through their plant and their offices and their fields this week. 2,000 people. So I think about it, in terms of you're missing out. One, this feels like the Super Bowl for food service. So there's the event, our event. We need everybody to come to our event. There is so much happening around our event. There's some people that came here on Sunday, and they're not leaving until Sunday. And kicking dirt and seeing processing plants and going to dinners.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it really is a week-long event, even though our event part of that is a day and a half. So we're never going to. I will never have this this conference move out of this city. And so the other thing that I would say in terms of
let me say thank you, by the way, because I don't want you to move it out of this place here right here, because I love coming here. But continue on. I'm sorry, Ashley.
The other thing is the more progressive retailers are the ones that are here. Trends get set at food service. Let's back it up. Trends are set by chefs. Yeah. So it goes chefs, restaurants, schools, retail. And so if retailers want to have a competitive advantage, I would suggest they might come and walk this floor and see what the trends are and where they're heading.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Great point.
Yeah.
We had a chance to talk to one of the chefs from Hannaford.
Great.
Doreen, and she did a great job, great personality. And but again, speaking from the retail person being here, I mean, they're the ones, they're taking and as the consumer's changing at the retail level, right, and moving to different parts of the store to make their purchases instead of maybe going to the restaurant, they're going to her department.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing out. All right, if you're trying to tap into where consumption's at, you better start figuring out where the consumer's at, and that consumer is going to convenience. That consumer is going to, they'll grab and go, or
they just want to recreate maybe what they've had at a restaurant, or make an attempt to recreate it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great to have Doreen here. By the way, I spent 20 years at Hannaford, so we're already have a kinship there. I have a soft spot for her, and she's doing amazing things. And now the opportunity, especially where she's driving the business, is to get more produce-inspired dishes. So if you think about shifting the health of the nation, which we talked about when we covered the Washington conference, and we have the opportunity to do that on menus in retail establishments and in schools as well.
So how is that movement going? So, not even that movement. Where are we at with the Farm Bill, dadgummit?
Yeah, well, the House just exited, and they're off for the next 6 weeks. So summer started early for them. So obviously nothing's going to happen before September. G.T. Thompson, Chairman Thompson on the House side, hopes to have something on the floor in September. We'll see. If not, nothing will happen until the lame duck. But we're putting a lot of pressure on them as an industry, the broader agriculture industry. We had 550 organizations write a letter to Congress and say, look, you are hurting our farmers. And this is supposed to be the backbone of America. Let's start there. Yeah. Agriculture and having the right level of support for agriculture. So best case scenario, September. Worst case scenario, it gets extended. Gotcha. And we don't get a farm bill even in lame duck.
You want to make a prediction?
I
don't know. You don't have to.
If I was doing this, if I could make that prediction, I probably wouldn't be doing this job.
I guess.
In all seriousness, although I would be doing this job because I love what I do, but I really am hoping for lame duck. I hope there's enough pressure both for the Democratic side and the Republican side, honestly, that they don't want to deal with it into the next season. So maybe there'll be enough drive. And honestly, if they're representing, which they are, their constituents, they want a farm bill done too. So I would love to see it done. I think September is unrealistic.
Okay.
But I think lame duck, we have a chance. Again, the worst case scenario is they don't extend it at all and we just keep going as is.
Just making it up as we go along.
Which is not going to be healthy for our industry for sure.
Yeah. On the, so you've got the school systems and school. Anything that's developed recently that's going to change the dynamics, that's going to get more produce at the school level? Is it changing food deserts? Anything that you can speak to that you're seeing or that's been done, that's been accomplished, that's going to change some of those dynamics?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about, school food service directors being here and making sure that they continue to look at the innovation to put on the plates in the schools. Incremental funding in the Farm Bill will be important. Let me get her, Deputy Undersecretary for the USDA for Food, Nutrition, and Consumer Services, that's her title. Cindy Long was here today.
Okay.
She just got promoted. And this is her first public outing.
Oh, wow.
So she spoke to the group, the women's breakfast this morning, and then she was on the floor for a couple hours today. And she's met with a lot of farmers here to say we need continued funding in order to continue to change the eating habits of the next generation. The other thing that I think has real promise is we have a partnership with the Partnership for a Healthier America.
Okay.
And this is coming out of the White House Conference on Food, Hunger, and Nutrition. And we have partnered with them to drive the consumption of fruits and vegetables in 15 cities across the country and by 2030. So in most of those cities, it will probably have a small base. So Indianapolis and Denver are the first two cities we're starting with. There's a whole list. We'll have 15, I hope, by the end of the year that have signed on. And between now and 2030, it's looking at the whole ecosystem to ensure that we can drive consumption of fruits and vegetables in those two cities, doubling it from where it is today. So imagine they're calling it good food cities. We're calling it good food cities. So if we can do that, what an opportunity to scale across the country. Doubling consumption, albeit only 1 in 10 Americans are eating the right amount of fruits and vegetables.
So you're looking to get 2?
Yeah, if we can double the, but just imagine what that means for volume. I mean, think of the volumes now.
Oh, for sure, it's huge.
And so that has a lot of promise. We're really getting some momentum around that I think is going to change the eating habits in those cities and have some celebrations that we'll be able to scale long term.
So will you guys, I'm just curious, in Denver, will you survey consumers, here's what the number is, and then come back a year later, something like that, and do that survey again.
So those have all been qualified already?
Yeah,
like
so
the cities?
No, so we have 2 locked in for sure. There's a list of there's more than 13 other cities. Obviously, you need to have a community that's friendly. It starts with the mayor, that they need to be on board and engaged in wanting to drive consumption of fruits and vegetables in their city. Benchmarking is key, right? Yeah. Doubling what? Where's your benchmark? So there's been a lot of effort to understand what the right benchmarks are for the cities. And then all the interventions, taking a holistic approach. You know, it's schools, it's produce prescriptions. We have programs out there like Brighter Bites. It could be a great intervention for a community. It's access. It's again, the whole ecosystem. It's distribution and how do we get it to areas of the city that may be food deserts. So I think it could be a real game changer. It will be a real game changer. Yeah, it's super exciting to be able to have a partnership like this because they get a lot of funding, corporate funding. Obviously, we can bring the industry to bear. We can get a piece of fruit or vegetable to anyone in this country with our distribution network, with our grower network, with our retail network, with our food service network, and with our school network. So stay tuned. I'll keep you updated on how that's going, but it has some real promise over the next, 6 or 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's for me. I love that. It's a plan. It's measurable. It's actionable.
Exactly.
Right. So, all right, Cathy. Certainly, time quick here, very short, and we appreciate, like I say, you sitting down, catching us up. Glad it's been a great success here, and we really look forward to seeing some of these things come to fruition and the growth of
looking forward to Atlanta
consumption.
Yeah,
and we are looking forward to Atlanta. We're already putting together some stuff for the Atlanta show, so can't wait to get there, see you there, and
I will be there.
And see everybody out there. We hope you guys enjoyed the show, our time with Cathy. It's always a real honor to have her here with us, and so thanks, Cathy. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for Ed.
Thank you to our partners.
Thanks for the partners. We thank everybody and really appreciate it. So,
great.
Cathy,
Thank you.
Have a great end of the show, and we'll see you in Atlanta, okay?
Thank you guys
All right.
very much. See you in Atlanta.
All right, take care. Thanks.
All right.
And
Bye-bye.
we're out.